Kia ora, welcome to this episode of the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, author, Austenite, life coach. My co-host is Rachel Pilwell, book buyer, Austenite, all-round nerd.
Hi!
And our returning special guest is Amanda.
Hello. Best friend, Rachel fan, watcher of movies and sweetheart.
So Amanda has been kind enough to watch Clueless with Rachel and then Emma with Rachel and I to discuss today. So the Emma in question is the 2020 version of Emma.
Starring Anya Taylor-Joy as Emma, Johnny Flynn as Mr. Knightley, and the fabulous Bill Nye as Mr. Woodhouse.
I thought you were going to go in the fabulous Miranda Hart.
And the fabulous Miranda Hart. Everyone's really well cast, but Miranda Hart's Miss Bates is definitely the best portrayal of Miss Bates I've ever seen in any adaptation of Emma.
We have discussed who I believe I said on that occasion. Before seeing the movie, I was wondering why they would cast Miranda Hart because I knew her mostly for her show Miranda. Oh, she is so good, and we talked at the time that we think she should do a one-woman show of every single Austen novel.
And I still stand by that. She would be an excellent Mr. Woodhouse, and even better Mr. Darcy.
Oh, Lady Catherine.
Lady Catherine. Miranda Hart's Lady Catherine. Miranda Hart's Mr. Collins.
Because she can do comedy, she can do slapstick, but she can also do the seriousness and the heart of things. Mm-hmm. And you get this ridiculousness with Miss Bates, but there's real feeling, and I wanted to cry.
Oh yeah, we'll get to it, but the Box Hill scene, Miranda Hart really just steals that, just completely.
What an actress to draw herself back so much in every other scene, so she does not steal every other scene like she really should, because she's that good.
Yeah. Absolutely, I 100% agree.
The film starts and ends with Emma with her eyes closed.
It also opens and ends on the same song as well, the Italian opera song, which my brain can't think of the title of. It's very rare to find an Austen adaptation that uses vocals in the music. It's true of most historical adaptations, not just books, but historical films in general. They will mostly use instrumental soundtracks and classical music. And the 2020 Emma is one of the few that really subverts that, where almost every song, not all of them, but almost all of them have vocals to them. The first time I watched this movie in the cinemas when it came out, I found the vocals so jarring, it really distracted me. Like, it really took me out of the movie every time that a song with vocals. But you quite enjoyed that, you said.
But I think because it was so unexpected. And it felt like going to see a modern film where there's songs you can sing along to.
For me, having those vocals, it kind of added to the sort of pastoral vibe that you get with these kind of films where they're all set in the country.
Yeah. The music, especially that opening scene, the bright colours of the room, it gives me very Wes Anderson vibes. If someone told me this was a Wes Anderson Emma, I could believe them.
It is absolutely beautiful film. There's gorgeous use of colour everywhere. As you say, a lot of pastels.
Both in the settings and in the clothing.
Harriet doesn't wear as bright colours as Emma.
It starts with Emma opening her eyes in the early morning. The first thing she does in her role as partially as a hostess is she goes and picks flowers. She takes 2 servants with her. It's barely even sunrise, and she's out in the greenhouse picking flowers choosing which flowers her maid should pick. And being very exact. It's a really good start. You do get the very first line of the book about Emma in her 21st years having wanted very little as text on the screen before we begin. It immediately sets up Emma's character.
And you were particularly commenting on that just after the first scene. The second scene is the title card comes up and Emma is walking down the hall in the middle of her name, and it's just so beautifully framed.
Emma just walking straight towards you with the EM on her left and the MA on the right. It just feels very graceful, but it's just a really nice, clean look. She stops outside Miss Taylor's door. It's the day of the wedding to Mr. Weston. And it's a really beautiful scene between the two of them. It's very hushed voices of, thank you for all you've done for me. And
a lot of quoting from the novel, which feels a little awkward.
I quite enjoy throughout the movie that a lot of the dialogue is what is said in the novel, but because a lot of it does happen in Emma's head, they obviously have had to add in some dialogue. It's nice how close it sticks to the book. Then are immediately introduced to Mr. Woodhouse, being like, oh, poor Miss Taylor, poor Isabella, about them getting married. Bill Nye might be my favourite version in any adaptation of Mr. Woodhouse.
Is he not too energetic? This is the thing that most people have complained about, that his first appearance is him jumping on screen.
I understand that, yes, that he is a bit more energetic than he's portrayed, but I think the energy is a nervous, neurotic energy.
Ooh.
It's not a playful energy. He is freaking out, worried about stuff, and that's the only thing that's getting him moving.
Paranoia about the drafts and things as well.
Yeah. The physical comedy of Bill Nye's Mr. Woodhouse is brilliant, and sometimes it's not even him moving. There's a scene later on where he's sitting, Emma and Knightley walk past him, and he's sitting in his chair completely surrounded by screens to keep drafts out. I think it's a brilliant just moment of physical comedy in the middle of a slightly more serious scene with them arguing.
He does put them to good use in the scene where Emma and Knightley decide to be together. This was the first time I caught it. It looks like Mr. Woodhouse knows what's going on and is wanting to give them that privacy.
I think I caught that the first time I watched it, and it made me laugh so hard that he was like, oh, gotta let my daughter get some. Use the screens to give them a moment of privacy, but they're still in the same room and the servants are still there.
The servants have to put up with so much, and I love that they're used as a comic thing as well. In that scene, they see Knightley and Emma making out and they just turn around. In another scene, Mr. Woodhouse is like, there's a draft, and they're running around trying to find it and they can't, and they're just like, oh, he's gone, and then they just go stand back in the corner. And then walking across the screen like, oh, he's gone, just put it down.
Oh, there's a scene where Mr. Knightley's thrown himself on the ground in his abbey, and one of his servants comes in, sees him lying on the floor with him having thrown his cravat in his house, and the servant just turning around and walking out again.
Close the door.
The use of silent comedy from the servants is so well done. The servants, in every Austen adaptation, they're there. They're seen, but they're not heard. But in this, they're seen, they're not heard, but they do so much with it.
We do hear from one servant. We hear from the housekeeper at Donwell Abbey, who is named Mrs. Reynolds, which is the name of the housekeeper in Pride and Prejudice, who is the actress that plays that character.
I don't know her name.
I don't know her name either.
It was at the end and I looked at it and then my brain immediately forgot it. But it's the actress who plays Mary Bennet in the 1995 Pride and Prejudice adaptation with Jessica L. and Colin Firth. It's such a nice little surprise to see her there. And actually, it wasn't until you pointed out, Francis, that I realised it was her. Like, I think my brain's just always glossed over her before, and I feel so bad about that, but it's so nice to have a little cameo.
It's really subtle. Someone had to point it out to me too.
Yeah.
I love that there's still bits that you can find. It's like a nod to the fans.
There's been so many adaptations, and I think it's really lovely that people who have been in adaptations before are willing to come in and do very minor roles as nods to fans. It's one of the things I love about being a Jane Austen fan and having this big Jane Austen global community is that you do get a lot of these little tidbits, and regardless of what you're watching. It's a really great moment at the beginning, during the wedding of the Westons, how everybody greets each other of, oh, Mr. this, Miss that, blah, blah, to introduce each character to the audience without you having to try and catch their name during some dialogue later on. You were immediately introduced to everybody.
I think they also do it kind of in order of rank, and you can see how Emma treats people. And when it's the Coles, who she views as kind of upstarts, she says hello to them, looking forward away from them when they're slightly behind her. And then she and her father take their place in the front row.
Mr. Elton has his eyes closed at the beginning when we're first introduced to him.
So I had this idea watching this. This is Mr. Elton's first wedding he's performing.
Of course.
And that's why he's so nervous and weird about it, because at the end, he's done several weddings. So when he does Emma and Knightley's, he's much calmer.
Yeah, and he knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying innocence and not innocence. Again, it's just another weird little moment of comedy, Mr. Woodhouse pointing it out. You start off being like, oh, he's not bad looking, he could be good. But then, as you get to know him, very quickly, once you start talking to Mr. Elton, immediately you can be like, he's slimy. But I think the actor did such a good job. The kind of weird smile and the way he looks at Emma especially is just like, ugh, gives you the ick, which is what the character is supposed to do. Mr. Knightley is not at the Weston's wedding, and I couldn't remember if he's not there in the books either.
He's not.
Yeah.
Because he comes to Hartfield in the evening and asks how the wedding was, because he's been in London on business.
That's right. It's been so long since we did that episode of the podcast last year. No recollection of what happened. Very quickly get a nudity scene from Mr. Knightley.
There are a couple of unnecessary nude bits.
But cheeks.
But no sex scenes, but nudity.
Sexy scenes.
We get to see Johnny Flynn's butt, and then we got to see the edge of Anya Taylor-Joy's butt. Harriet and Emma dancing in their underwear and hugging in their underwear. Then we get a very sexy dance between Emma and Mr. Knightley. Then the kisses between Harriet and Mr. Martin, and kisses between Emma and Mr. Knightley.
It's a lot of very sexy moments.
Something like slightly tangential. I enjoy how this film makes everyone feel human. It's like the part where she's like warming her butt because she's cold. A lot of historical things, we tend to view them with extra reverence or formality, that although the people did live more formal lives than today, they were still people. They seem more human to me.
Normally the characters that feel the most human to me in Austen's ones are the bumbling characters, because it feels so, or at least I find it very relatable.
It's like Anne Elliot says in Persuasion, right? You kind of can't trust someone who never says a harsh word.
Mm-hmm.
They're not real.
Pretty much every character in this, with the exception maybe of Mr. Woodhouse, who still seems very much more cartoonish as a character. I feel like everybody does seem a lot more like realistic. In terms of back to Johnny Flynn, he is a very young casting of Knightley.
So I don't think there's as big an age difference, or meant to be, in this adaptation.
After a quick Google search, there's a 13-year age gap between the actors. So Johnny Flynn is 42 currently, Anya Taylor-Joy is 29. They don't seem like there's much of an age gap, but they actually are much closer to the age gap in the book than I anticipated. He just looks very young. And is that makeup, or is he just... does he just have more collagen than the rest of us?
He's naturally beautiful.
He's not quite Paul Rudd levels of young looking, but he does feel like a bit of a younger form of Knightley. I think it's the character really well. He does a really good job of portraying Knightley's character. I love how the first time we see Emma and Knightley together, he shows up at Hartfield, and Emma, who's been looking through the window watching for him, immediately goes over to the piano to start playing. Emma, being very performative, she wants to impress him. And I like that we really do get to see the sharing of letters, because we talked about that when we were discussing the book, how letters are a form of entertainment. It's not normally so obvious. They don't just have the letter and are handing it around, whereas Mr. Knightley comes over and they mention Frank Churchill, but Emma actually produces the letter that was sent to the Westons to show Mr. Knightley. The letter has been given to her in her possession to show other people.
And that happens again in this one as well.
Yeah, it's done quite a few times. I also really enjoyed the title cards for the seasons and showing the passing of time. Like, you get the title card for autumn to show that time's changed. Later on we get winter. The pacing of the film is faster than the book. But you mentioned towards the end, Francis, about these scenes happening right after each other in terms of Emma and Harriet's discussion followed by the proposal scene.
I think it worked really well. Then you understood what was going on in the background of everyone's minds during those scenes, which you don't get unless you're reading the novel. You have Emma finding about Frank and Jane from the Westons, immediately going and talking to Harriet about it, so you know why she was upset and why she's talking to Harriet. And then immediately after that, Emma runs into Mr. Knightley, and Mr. Knightley says that he loves her eventually. But that's straight after her conversation with Harriet, so you can tell why she's reluctant to talk to him, because she's got Harriet in her head that entire time. And that's happening in the book, but you don't catch it in adaptations because you're not in her head. And why would you think she'd be thinking about Harriet? But the way that those three scenes go right after each other works really well to keep the emotion flowing.
Keeps the audience a bit more present to what's happening as well.
Yeah.
It's not like you're having to separate it by chapter like you do in the book. Everything just kind of flows a lot better so that audiences who aren't so well versed can follow along. Speaking of Harriet, I liked Mia Goth's portrayal. She was a very good actress for Harriet, but again, they don't make Harriet prettier than Emma.
They want the main actress, the main character, to be the prettiest.
Which is understandable. It's not accurate. For me though, my main gripe with Mia Goth, where are her eyebrows?
Another intentional choice to not put makeup on her.
I look at her face and my brain just goes, there should be eyebrows there. And they're so light, or so thin, you could barely see them.
I like that on this watch you could see Harriet gain more confidence, carry herself differently, dress differently, present differently, the more time she spent with Emma. She is a giggly schoolgirl at the start, and she's not as we progress on.
You do kind of see her start off copying Emma, and like anytime Emma is holding her tea and Harriet's holding her tea the same way, and Emma takes a sip to drink, and then Harriet does the same thing and just copying her, and then eventually starts copying her hair to show even the more subtle influences Emma is having on her.
Her admiration and want to be like Emma. Yeah.
Why are you so obsessed with me? That's the vibe. Josh O'Connor is cast as a good Elton. Harriet and Emma go visit Miss Weston, and he's there constantly talking about, oh, what a charming house. Like, surely it looks so lovely. Very awkward, but I think he portrays that try-hard version of Elton very well, with still having a little bit of that bumbliness, but then complimenting Emma, being so focused on her. But
for a scene, 2 scenes, he's just saying the same thing to every person. He has no idea how to behave.
No, not at all. During the ball scene, there is a moment where the Eltons are fighting, and he's like, I'm not embarrassing myself. And it's like, actually, you are. Like, his wife is so controlling. I didn't feel that Eltons as a couple were as good a match together in this adaptation.
Because she's being controlling. Like, she
she's
slaps
so
his hand.
She seems so much more controlling that they don't seem like equal or happy together like they do in the books, where he's like so much, oh, you're so right, my love, like fawning over her. Go back to the music for a second. The Irish ballads. I don't like it. I love an Irish ballad, don't get me wrong. I don't feel like it fits with the story.
But the Italian opera fitted.
I didn't like it at the beginning, and I did like it by the end. But I don't know, you made the comment that it's a lot louder than I think we expect it to be as well. I feel like the music in a lot of Austen is much more like underneath, like a low kind of thing.
Background, this one was foreground.
Just really center space, yeah. Although, in terms of good music choice, when Emma and Harry are in the fabric thing and they see Miss Bates through the window, the music changed to kind of being almost of like horror. It made me think of the Jaws theme song. They've seen Miss Bates and now we're getting horror movie music.
Accurate.
Miss Bates, 100% ADHD.
She's jumping from topic to topic. She loses the letter from Jane. She's very excitable. She's like, ooh, look, a pretty thing, which is very squirrel.
Yeah, the lack of object permanence. Where did I bury those nuts? I felt like this version of Emma is not ADHD. Or at least much less so in comparison.
Yes, Miss Bates, definitely. Emma, maybe not.
Different actors can portray the same character so differently. I wonder if part of that, though, is potentially whether the actors are neurotypical or not. Like, I wonder if that factors into how they're portraying that character.
I think everything factors into how they portray a character. Maybe they are neurotypical, but they've decided to portray the character as neurodivergent.
Yeah, or maybe they're neurodivergent. They're trying really hard not to be neurodivergent so that their character isn't coming that way. Who knows? Acting process is interesting. I don't remember whether Mr. Perry has been cast in previous adaptations. And while we don't get any dialogue from Mr. Perry, we do see him in this film attending to Mr. Woodhouse, which I thought was just a nice moment. Mr. Perry is mentioned so much in the book and so much in the film. He is a very real presence in their lives every single day, and I thought it was really cool to have someone actually portray him.
And Emma specifically says in this adaptation, Mr. Perry comes every day.
You don't see your doctor every day, Francis?
No.
What about you, Amanda?
No.
No? Wow, just me then. Okay.
It's because I'm eating all those apples.
Keeping those doctors away. Maybe Mr. Woodhouse should try that. We said, talking about Clueless, of how Emma is very much using Harry as a doll. And I feel like in the painting when she's positioning her, I was like, yes, this is just like playing with a doll. You're just moving her arms about into the right position. I like the painting, though, that Emma does of Harry.
I do not like the frame that
Elton chooses with the doors.
No, he goes completely overboard.
Yeah, well, he's not paying for it. He's buying it on the work credit card. I do love, though, that Emma gives the painting to Mr. Martin at the end when she gives him the ghost as an apology. I think if anyone is going to truly appreciate that painting, it's Mr. Martin. Speaking of which, while we were watching the film, I was looking up the actors portraying the characters, and we found out that Connor Swindles, who plays Mr. Martin, is married to the actress Amber Anderson, who plays Jane Fairfax. There was a real-life on-set romance during the film. I love it. Despite having no scenes together, they would have been on set at the same time. Continued being friends and having a good relationship. And then lockdown happened in 2020. And then they decided to move in together and to quarantine together during the lockdowns. And then
They got
And
together?
then they got together fully. And now they're married. They got married last year.
Cute.
I love it when love really happens. Like,
In real life.
they fell in love on set. And now, because they fell in love in a Jameson story, they can never get divorced, okay?
Sure.
True love forever. True love forever. I like how they keep the scene of Mr. Knightley and Mrs. Weston arguing about Emma. And how actually the majority of that scene is also very book dialogue accurate. Him wanting Emma to find love, and Mrs. Weston's opinion on Harriet and Emma's friendship being good compared to Mr. Knightley's. It was nice to see Mr. Knightley and Mr. Martin having a moment as well, and their friendship.
You see him approaching Mr. Knightley as his boss, and then, like, can I ask your advice?
Yeah.
I like that we got to see that.
What's the opposite of the Bechdel test? Where it's men not talking about women. Because I feel like in Austen, you don't get that as much, apart from when Mr. Woodhouse was freaking out. I think it was really nice, but I mean, it still doesn't pass the Bechdel test because they are talking about women.
Or they're talking about farming as well.
That's also true, but we don't see it. We don't care about the farming talk. We only care about them talking about their emotions. A character who we do see showing some emotion, which I wasn't expecting, was Mr. John Knightley.
He is a different character. He still complains, like his character in the book, because Isabella is also complaining and quite bitchy about it, yet John is more grumpy.
Yeah, he's more sullen and more silent, and definitely way more exhausted.
They do have a bunch of kids. But the point
So
of
many.
Isabella and John's marriage is that they're very, very much in love, and he worships her, and she's like the weaker character. That is not how it is here.
No, she is the stronger character for sure in this version. He just has to bend to her whims. It actually felt that John Knightley was older than George Knightley. That might not be the way with the actors, I don't know, but maybe it was because he's got so many children and such a neurotic wife that he's just more tired, and maybe that tiredness made him seem like he was the older sibling.
Also, Johnny Flynn is shorter than most of the other male actors.
That's also true.
Which they use to great effect between him and Frank Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
There's great scenes of the two of them going, oh God, I'm standing next to you again. Oh, neither of them liking each other.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of edging away.
So we do equate height and age a lot in society. At the wedding of Emma and Knightley, John is crying.
And Isabella's not impressed.
Isabella's just like just there. And he's just like getting his thing, and you actually see George Knightley crying as well. He's crying during the proposal scene. He's really tearing up, and then he's tearing up at the wedding as well, where he's rubbing his eyes. And actually, he's much more emotional than Emma in a lot of parts of this film.
If we're talking about bodily functions, emotions, we need to talk about the nosebleed.
Yes, I hate it.
So, up until today, I have only read that it was the actress having a nosebleed and they went with it. They stayed in character. But today I read something saying that it was always part of the script, but she managed to get it started without intending to. Like her body just got so into the character. I don't know what the truth is.
I don't care. I see blood.
Do you think
You
it
just look at
adds
blood.
or takes anything
Oh,
away
I
from...
think it adds an extra layer of stress. They're already having this stressful moment, and then it's like, oh, now we have to deal with this as well. I think it's really cool that if it was a accident, that they did manage to just improvise and keep going, and that they kept that in. I think that's really a really talented thing to keep in character when mishaps happen.
Yeah.
And not
that's
just
true.
start swearing.
Yeah.
I would have been worrying about the white dress I was wearing if I was her. I would be like, oh shit, I'm wearing a white costume. Fuck. I love how he immediately has the handkerchief to give to her, though, which is very accurate. He's just carrying that around. It's a rogue move. Who doesn't love a book-accurate scene? And to change things up, it's always a risk. But I guess it is a risk that paid off for them. The scene at Randall's for Christmas, and more specifically, when Mr. Elton says it's snowing.
And
Panic.
every head swivels.
There's so much in-sync movement in this film. The people looking towards Mr. Woodhouse at this point when it's mentioned of snow, or everybody standing up at the same time, both in the scene and at church. You know, there's lots of moments where it's very well choreographed.
In the church as well, where Emma and the dad, they turn their head at the exact same time to look.
And it's almost on beat with music, and it's just really visually nice, which, again, you could tell me this was Wes Anderson, and I'd believe you, because I feel like it's the kind of thing that they would do in there. Like, it's all so deliberate. But it is such a funny scene where it's like immediate, there's snow, oh god, we've got to go, freaking out. This is exactly how it is in the book, but it is just so funny. But obviously it leads into a very gross scene, which is Mr. Elton in the carriage.
Oof.
Ugh.
He gets angry really quick, banging the roof of the carriage and demanding to be let out, throws a hissy fit, and will walk home in the snow because a girl rejected him.
Amanda was like, wow, this is such an incel thing, and so I've written in all caps, Elton is incel.
You've also written tantrum in all caps.
Yeah, he has a tantrum. That's the only way I can describe his actions.
The point you made of him, like, preemptively taking his coat off, he feels entitled and he's expecting it to happen in that moment. And then when he realizes that, oh, Emma's not playing, she's not trying to be hard to get, then that's his anger instantly snaps.
It's immediate, and he is a stupid baby man.
Accurate description of Mr. Elton. Stupid baby man.
Stupid baby man. Of another scene I don't like. We already know this from the books. Box Hill. Nobody likes the Box Hill scene.
It's so well done.
It is so well done. And this is where Miranda Hart steals the show.
She is crying and speaking quietly to Mr. Knightley. I must have done something really bad for her to treat an old friend this way, while the rest of the scene's still going on.
And then immediately having Mr. Weston be like, what two letters spell perfection? M and A, Emma. And Emma knowing like, oh shit, as soon as she's mean to Miss Bates, she knows she's fucked up. But the scene continues, and it just keeps getting cringier and worse. I was genuinely on the couch with my hands over my ears and looking up at the ceiling because I just can never handle it.
The Mr. Knightley telling Emma off after this scene feels different to other ones. I think you were saying, Amanda, that it felt like he was more disappointed in her than angry.
Yeah, you can see after she says it, the look on the actor's face is like, I've misjudged this person. I thought this person to be a particular way, but them to come out with something so horrible, so cruel. We're all supposed to be friends here. Like, we're all supposed to be having this nice time, and that you could say something so nasty, I've misjudged you. And then it comes into when he's telling her off later. He's like, I'm disappointed. I hold you in better respect. You've acted out of what I expected of you.
Yeah, and especially pointing out that Miss Bates is poor. I know if she was of a higher rank, maybe what you said wouldn't hit so hard, but she isn't of that rank. And it was so awful of you to say that. And it is very much kind of how the scene goes down in the book. But watching it is so much harder than reading it. And I don't know whether it's being able to see the expressions and hear the heartbreak that Miranda Hart has in her voice.
The dramatics of Emma crying in the carriage, slumping down in her seat and screaming, go.
At the servants.
Yeah, and it's the other thing, the servants over here, everything.
Amanda was saying that being a servant in one of these households would be the most entertaining thing.
Yeah, just got to keep the popcorn on you at all times. You hear so much.
Servants know everything. It's said in so many different shows and movies where there are servants, servant dialogues who you need to go to.
A good servant knows what their master or mistress needs or wants before they even do.
They know all the hot goss. Knightley is the only character who can make Emma cry. And herself. She is equally disappointed in herself, but it's Knightley telling her off that really causes her to break down. There's a scene of she gets home, she's crying, her father is there and she's talking to him, but he can't quite comfort her. Nothing hurts her as much as Knightley's criticism. After they get proposed to, there's the scene with the screens and Mr. Woodhouse covering up so they can't see each other. I really enjoy that in this version, Emma kisses Knightley first. She sits there and it's a really odd choreographed scene though. He's sitting there just kind of admiring her and she flicks her head, looking serious, thinking about it, and then just turns and gives him a peck and then like pulls away as if like, that was interesting, and then he kisses her back. But I like that she makes the first move.
It's like she's gone, this is the next step. I feel like we should do this. We're going to do it. Oh, good. We did do that. Great.
And
but she's so in her head. And then he's like, that's not how we kiss.
Yeah.
Come on.
There were 2 points. This is one of them. And the other one was the first opening scene where she opens her eyes and looks directly into the camera. That I think Emma would make a really good film. Like in the 2022 Persuasion where she's talking to the camera, we're seeing her in a monologue with the breaking of the fourth wall. Emma would be a fantastic choice to have a movie done that way, with Emma breaking the fourth wall.
Well, we do have several vlog-style web series about Emma that I had put on the list to watch.
Well, I'll be keen to watch them and tell you what I think about it. But I feel like I would have really enjoyed having Anya Taylor-Joy's monologue version of Emma, internal monologue. I think she would have done a really good job of that fourth wall breaking.
She does very subtle but expressive facial expressions. A slight shift of the eye and a little bit of a crinkle, and you're like, I know exactly what that is.
What she's thinking.
But no one around her notices these things, so she can still be Emma.
Yeah, she acts and says a lot with her body movements.
She moves in this way, which to me, it's going to sound kind of weird. It's kind of like a goose or some kind of long-necked bird, like an ostrich. Or just like the way that she moves about, it's kind of like, I'm in this kind of higher place and I'm kind of just observing people. And it made me think of your comment about Mrs. Elton, how the actress like really managed to look down her nose at other people. And like her body movements as well were just expressive of that particular side.
Mrs. Elton's moves all looked very calculated and very like a little, not, stiff isn't quite the right word, not maybe more sharp, but you could tell her, I am better than everybody, in the way that she moved. And there was less of a smoothness than there was in the way that Emma moved. But the Mrs. Elton actress, fantastic, because I hated her every time she was on screen.
I wrote her name down in here. Tanya Reynolds.
Tanya Reynolds,
so
amazing.
Well cast as Mrs. Elton. I love the way she's introduced in this, where it's at church and everyone walks in and she is sitting in the front row, which is normally the Woodhouse's seat. So it shows immediately she is superseding Emma's position by being married to Mr. Elton. Everybody else is standing around and gossiping about it, and they're like, oh my god, who is this lady and why is she in the front row? Emma and Mr. Woodhouse getting to the front row, seeing her in the front row and not moving to let them in, turning to the other front row and seeing the Coles sitting there and choosing to sit in the second row rather than sitting next to the Coles. It is preferable for them to be in the second row of the pew. Like, it says so much about all their characters. Everybody looks at each other, like Miss Bates looks at Emma and everyone's like side-eyeing Mrs. Elton. But what I really thought was interesting was when the sermon's over and Mr. Elton is leaving, and he like holds his hand out for his wife to like take, and she exits the pew, but then immediately like lets go and does like this weird arm movement where he lifts his hand up as if like, oh, stop touching me.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was a really funny thing of like, oh, I've helped you with your hand, and like immediately lets go, and it's like this very superior seeming move. And then she following right behind him, and then obviously introduces her as Augusta Elton, on which you said he wouldn't have used her first name to introduce her.
He would have said Mrs. Elton. If anyone was referring to her by a name, it would be Mrs. Husband's name, Elton. Yeah. They would not refer to her by her first name.
I don't know what Mr. Elton's first name is.
No, I was trying to think and I don't think
My brain is only coming up with Ben Elton, who is an author. And that's not who we're talking about. But Mrs. Elton, who was saying she wears a lot of orange. I think she also has one of those weird dog collar kind of things that Emma's wearing. Her hair is very poodleish, but she's so gaudy.
Paraphrasing, it's like, oh, I hate being over-ornamented, I love simplicity, and then she's wearing all these ruffles, extra gems, pearls,
super
everything,
frilly.
you know?
Yeah, she's very well adorned, despite what she said. Mr. Weston asks her to start the ball so that Frank and Emma can dance together, and she's like, oh, I simply couldn't, while she's taking off her like chemise and handing it to her husband. It's just so well done. She was so well cast. But again, I think everybody was so well cast. Emma and Harriet hugging in their underwear was gay.
Yeah.
Them dancing. I love that moment of their friendship, though, of Emma teaching Harriet how to dance before the ball. Like, surely she's probably had some sort of dancing instruction at school.
I didn't think that's what was going on, because it seems like Harriet already knew, because she was going to do the girl part. And Emma goes, no, you're Frank Churchill.
Oh.
So they're like, maybe they're practicing kissing?
Yeah, maybe they're practicing romantic, sexual-looking dancing, because the dance scene at the ball between Emma and Knightley is a sexy scene. Yeah. Oh, everyone is wearing gloves for the most part, until that moment when Emma and Knightley are the only two people not wearing gloves, so...
It's kind of shot like a sex scene in that you see bits of, like, the back down, hands kind of glancing over body parts, and... the zooms and the looks on the faces.
There
like,
is so much heavy eye contact in that, and how it ends with his hand on Emma's waist and her hand over his, and them looking into each other's eyes.
There's a bit where they have to break apart because they're just staring at each other and people are trying to move through the dance.
I love it. And that's really cute and romantic. But I still think that Emma and Harriet hugging in their underwear is a much more sexy scene. In the book, we find out that Harriet's father is of no consequence and she's marrying Mr. Martin, that her and Emma stop being friends. In the film, though, it is almost a very deliberate, we will still be friends, where Harriet comes to tell Emma that she's engaged to Mr. Martin and that her father has sent her a letter and that he's a tradesman who makes galoshes in Bristol. And that would normally be the point that you would expect Emma to go, well, I hope you have a good time with him, and then their friendship winds down. But Emma specifically invites them to Hartfield, and then they hug again, super gay. There is a conscious decision in this version of Emma to keep them as friends after.
Something that I thought that was interesting was how at the start Harriet's wearing like a knitted kind of top, and then later again you see she's wearing a crochet kind of top, but as she wants to become, I guess, more aligned with Emma, she stops. We have this kind of association of like knitted items as being quite cozy and homey, comforting. I guess maybe that could be a costuming choice for Harriet in opposition to Emma's got quite like sharp and precise kind of clothing, and also detailed. She's wearing this kind of pink, I don't know the exact name for it, but it's like a shrug kind of jacket.
Spencer?
Yeah, yes, that's the one.
With the very elaborate puff on the shoulders.
Yeah. Yes, they did a really good job of, I think, costuming the characters to show their personalities. With Mrs. Bates, she's got a lot of frills around her neck, more lace than you would need on her head. Like, she's got so much, and it kind of just adds to that essence of her character.
Maybe potentially another reason Harriet is wearing so much knitted clothes is because she can't afford to have anything tailored like Emma does. The only way for her to really have something kind of tailored is for her to make it herself to her size, which would have just been a cost-saving measure as well, you know. But this is the point where Mr. Knightley is running from the ball to Hartfield and wearing the breeches that kind of come to just below the knee with the long stockings, and him running in it just looks ridiculous.
It's definitely made for promenading, not running.
Not running. And like the long coat, he's still wearing his top hat, and he arrives there all sweaty.
How dare he be sweaty?
But then Frank's all sweaty when he would have proposed in that moment if Frank hadn't arrived carrying Harriet after saving her for the Romneys. Frank, having carried Harriet who knows how far, is also just so incredibly sweaty. These two are very sweaty men, and they were getting it on together. No.
It's another scene that shows the animosity.
Mm-hmm. And the misunderstandings in that scene of Mr. Knightley thinking that Emma likes Frank, and Emma thinking that Harriet likes Frank, and Harriet liking Knightley. Oh.
Any final thoughts?
I really enjoy this edition of Emma. I think it's a good adaptation. And while I think the music is the only thing that really takes me out of it, it's very well acted and well cast, and I really enjoy watching it.
It does a good job of keeping it in history but also making it humanly relatable. To go back to Clueless a little bit, in that the time period is what I think makes, the way that they speak kind of makes the story relatable for audiences at the time, whereas here you're still getting the transporting to a different time. But you just see that people are still people, even though they lived ages ago.
Thank you. And thank you especially for joining us.
No problem. I had a fun time watching movies.
Yay! And that's our discussion of the 2020 adaptation of Emma. I've been Frances Duncan. This has been Rachel Pilwer and Amanda.
Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for listening. We wish you happy watching.